Welcome into the Capital PTBO Sports Show and MNC podcast production. You can come and visit us at the Capital PTBO at 370 George Street North or online anytime at thecapitalptbo.ca. Coming up on the show today, who is the best American hockey player on the planet? How much money would you spend simply to troll somebody? And ChatGTP creates the ultimate baseball lineup. Get into all of that and more. Before we do that, though, a reminder that what we do is not possible without the help of our good friend Brian Goldfinger of Goldfinger Personal Injury Law. Brian dedicates himself and his practice exclusively on behalf of accident victims, disability claimants, and their families. He is a plaintiff personal injury lawyer through and through and does not accept work on behalf of insurance company. If you get hurt, call Goldfinger Personal Injury Law 877-730-1777. That's 877-730-1777 or goldfingerlaw.com. Jordan Mercier here alongside Mark Millian, and up in the penalty box, my main man, Matt Latour. Gentlemen, what is going on with you?
I've never heard pomp and circumstance all the way to the end.
That wasn't. There's still a few seconds left on it, but I wanted to experiment with running it underneath.
You got to let it breathe.
Yeah, I don't mind.
It's a banger. It's a banger.
It is a banger.
You gotta. It's going to pull back the curtain a bit here. Mark, your wire is like over top of your microphone there.
I know. I was wondering.
Okay,
hang on.
Yeah. What kind of etiquette is
there
this?
We go.
Oh.
I was thinking that, like, in the preamble there, thinking, why is this, like, stretched over top of my arm?
Something was a little strange.
Somebody was playing with the microphones.
I'm excited about this show. We've got so much to get to. But, of course, as per usual, we want to give a special shout-out to our loyal subscribers on Patreon. You can check us out at patreon.com/capitalptbo. Without further ado, let's spin the wheel of Win Nothing, Matthew. Let's get that going over there.
While it's spinning, Craig Meredith, friend of the store, Patreon member, he says he's not getting enough love on the big wheel here.
Wow.
So let's try to get the big fella one here.
He was at the Pete's game the other night.
He'll be at the Pete's game again on the next one.
As you say that, the wheel stops on.
Mm-hmm.
Roger Self.
Nice.
Okay.
2 away from Craig Meredith on the wheel. So getting closer.
Peterborough golf historian Roger Self, thanks very much for your continued support.
You are getting a lot closer there, Craig. So just hang in with us. Come on now. That's how we do it on the Wheel of Win Nothing in partnership with Flash Freeze Candy Company. This is one of the hottest trends going in the world of candy. Mark, what can you tell us? You're eating one right now.
I've got one in my mouth. Sorry. Doesn't make for great listening or watching, and I apologize.
It's like an infomercial.
But it's terrific. The texture's terrific. It's got that great crunchy taste. It's flavor country. We've gone over that many, many times. You can get it at Couture Candy, both downtown and in Lansdowne Place Mall.
I did stop by the Lansdowne Place Mall division of Couture Candy. Got myself some caramel corn.
Yes, you did. That's
staple.
right. You posted that. Yes.
Very delicious.
Okay, just quickly then. Let's have some popcorn real estate here. When you were a kid, your family got the tin that had the three types of popcorn in it. It had like a cheesy popcorn, it had a caramel corn, and it had like I don't know, like a salt and or sour cream and onion. Did you ever get that?
Right.
No.
What?
I was in Scouts growing up and we sold popcorn.
Okay.
Because girl guides, they get cookies. It's easy to sell. They give us popcorn to sell.
Okay.
Not as receptive on a door-to-door basis.
Yeah.
But there's some good. There's like a white chocolate coated popcorn.
Okay.
It's basically candy at that point.
Okay, I know exactly what you're talking about, Mark. I used to have one of those.
You got one of those?
Yep.
Okay. The cheese popcorn, yes or no, is the best of the three?
No.
Okay. Which one?
Caramel corn.
What?
Yeah.
No. Incorrect.
I'll tell you the best is it's cheese, but not the kind you're talking about, the orange kind.
Yes.
Smart food to me.
Okay.
The white cheese popcorn.
Okay, fine. I can get behind that. Last one on the popcorn watch is Poppycock. That's a Peterborough thing. We used to make it down at Park and Lansdowne. Poppycock is a national brand. We used to only get it at Christmas time. Delicious. Hit me up, Poppycock phone. Like fans of the Poppycock, trust me, it's good.
What
delicious.
about elephant popcorn back in the day?
I know. I wish I had some. There was something about the pink that just made it taste so bad, but you kept eating it anyways.
Just kept going. I don't think Matt was around for elephant popcorn.
No, I was
That's
not.
a few years ago. One of my favorite things is, so on the camera, I've got this sheet. It's got prep notes all over it. It's got topics because we like to move in a timely manner.
Well, you're a total pro.
We like to cover the biggest topics of the week. I feel like we could crumple this and just say, Mark Millian, let's talk about the Boston Bruins. for 55 more minutes.
How many more minutes?
I have never
Holy
in my
smokes.
life, I have never seen somebody quite as excited as you were. And you do social media here at the store and a little bit, but you just went overboard. You were going after people. Pete Galladay is a big Bruins fan. Ravishing Rick Rick Elliott's a big Bruins fan. And you just reveled in it more than even any other Leaf fan. And it was amazing, and I loved it.
It's hard to believe. So I had to really dial it back for the store because it's not my personal Instagram. It's the store's Instagram. So like putting the 63 wins slogan up and then putting an extra the 6 because they only won 3 games in the series. You know what? And it's okay if I get a little bit hot here. We can beep it, right, Latour? I'm only kidding. We're not beeping anything.
We've done it before. Dan O'Toole. Okay. Sorry, Bruins fans. You're going to have to eat it a little bit. Sorry, you're going to have to eat it for a decade.
I'm turning my mic off.
The Leaf fan had to eat it for so long. This Bruins franchise is not as good as you think. It's not. You've won 1 Stanley Cup in the last 50 years. Congratulations. The Leafs have none. Okay, so you're up 1-0. You've won 116 regular season games in the last 2 years, and you have 0 playoff round wins. Eat that for a change. Leafs, 1. Bruins, you had the second biggest historical defeat in the history of the National Hockey League. You have to own that because y'all are smug and you're all ooh, Leafs, you came back. Like, let me tell you this too, Bruins fan. You had the Leafs had you down 3-1 on a team that had Morgan Rielly as a rookie. Austin wasn't there. Mitch wasn't there. Jeepers, we had Raycroft. Eat it. You let the Philadelphia Flyers come back in from 3-0 down. If Tuukka Rask let those 4 games get by him like a train through the legs, and then you had the Leafs up 3-1. Tuukka Rask would have been the first goalie in history to have a 3-0 down and a 3-1 down and lose them both. And now you lost this one to 3-1, so eat it. Yum, yum. I'm here for it, and I won't apologize for it. The Leafs haven't won anything. They've won 1 round, but it's the Bruins' defeat. Smug, best team ever, this and that. No, you're San Jose, man. You're 96 Red Wings, sorry. But even 96 Red Wings followed it up with Cup. Bruins followed a 51-win season up with a 65-win season and another first-round exit. Honk on it. Sorry, it's over. I should
say that the sting of Tampa Bay getting swept by Columbus was also somewhat erased because they won back-to-back cups right after.
And if the Bruins win back-to-back cups, then this take will be old and horrific. But not today. Today it feels good. Today it makes me feel good in my heart to know that Bruins fans didn't show up for work Monday.
Literally.
Some guys literally Tuesday, still sick. I was a Leaf fan. It was a Wednesday night when they got beat. I had to rally the troops and get in there Thursday morning down to Pickering, and I still did it. But did it make me feel better that the Bruins fans were, ooh, yeah, it did.
When that goal goes in overtime, like, what's the moment?
Heather's sitting there on the couch. She's with me, but never with me. She's got the earbuds in. I come out of the chair like a rocket. Matt Kachuk, yeah, and just pumping the fist. Like, I think I screamed, it's in. And it just like multiple fist pumps. Like I had arms like Lou Ferrigno. It was unbelievable. I laughed like a small child. I had to work. I have a second job, which I won't bore you with here, but he's a good guy. I had to be there for 5:30 the next morning. I could barely get to bed for midnight. I had to rally at 5:30, which I did. Like sprung out of bed, like, oh, look at this Viagra commercial. Good morning, good morning. Like it was the thing. Oh, it was huge. I loved it.
You covered a lot of ground there. I don't know if I need to go back and unpack, but I'm going to make one point.
Yeah.
They win in 70 and 72, and they've only won in 2011 since. Mm-hmm. They've lost in a lot of cup finals.
Yep.
Stanley Cup has been awarded to opposing teams. You don't need to go back that far. Chicago.
Yes.
St. Louis.
Yes.
Game 7, own building.
Yep.
65-win team. unquestionably the greatest regular season, except for, I still throw in the caveat of the 77 Montreal Canadiens who didn't have OT and 3-on-3 and all this kind of goofiness.
Yeah.
So, if not the greatest, like the second greatest, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
And you blow a 3-1 lead. So the debate becomes, what's worse? Tying the all-time record with 62 wins and getting swept, or setting the record and blowing a 3-1 series lead? I say it's no question. This Bruins is the top of the mountain.
Yeah.
And you mentioned the second biggest point differential. So the 1980 was 82, the Miracle
82.
on Manchester.
Yeah.
Were the Kings and Oilers.
Yeah.
The caveat there, too, is that's only best of 5.
Correct.
So there is a lot of randomness that could happen in a best of 5.
Yeah.
They had to lose 3 straight. They only lost 17 games over like 6 months, and then they lost 4 in the span of a week.
Had never lost 3 games in a row all season.
That's what makes it worse is they had closeout games, and they couldn't
2 of them
do it.
at home.
Yeah.
2 closeout games.
They lost all 3 games at home. Like, holy smokes.
That's the biggest. That's the biggest upset in hockey history. It just is.
Yeah.
It's 43 points. It's 3-1. It's 2 closeout games at home. And now you look at the Bruins and you're kind of like, Krejci, not sure. Bergeron, it kind of looks like it's
Krejci,
done.
that's got to be it for him. He'd already gone back to Europe and come back. That's swan song for him.
Marchand, still good. Was he a factor when he needed to be? Not really. I actually thought Tyler Bertuzzi was far and away the best player that the Bruins had.
I would agree.
In that Game 7 and throughout the series.
If Bergeron doesn't come back, Marchand gets the captaincy, and I think that's a long-awaited captaincy for that franchise. I think he's been a good soldier. I think they've got a couple of pieces. Charlie McAvoy is a very nice piece on the back end. He's a stud defenseman for sure.
Oh, yeah, they're not going to drift back to obscurity. But that being said, to me, this is the greatest ever. It eclipses the one that we just referenced, which
82
was
Oilers.
82 Oilers and Tampa Bay versus Columbus.
Absolutely.
Are you, Mark, are you more happy about the Leafs being in the second round or about the Bruins being eliminated in the first round?
Oh, no, unprecedented. It's Bruins.
That's a different level of hater.
No,
That's
listen,
amazing.
my father watches this program every week, and he'll stand by this. It's close. He needs to debate whether or not he appreciates more when Montreal wins or Toronto loses. And that's the vibe that I'm getting.
It's
from
about
him.
whether or not hate or love is a stronger emotion, basically.
Yeah. I mean, don't get me like. I came out of the chair like a rocket when Johnny T put it in. I did for sure, and was quite happy Saturday night. But I mean, just to have the icing on the lemon loaf Sunday night, delivered live at 9:30 into my living room. Oh,
just had to bring lemon loaf into this.
Trust me, if I had had a nice slice of lemon loaf, it would have been icing on the proverbial
We
cake.
will get to Leafs and Florida here in a second, but since we're on the Bruins, greatest upset sports ever. I wrote down a couple. Jets Colts, Super Bowl III, 19.5 point favorites. The AFL had yet to win a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Kind of forgotten in time because they ended up winning eventually, but Mavericks Warriors 07. The Mavericks are a 67 win team. They go out to the 8 seed, which was just 42-40. Baron Davis and the Warriors.
Yeah, Baron Davis.
Miracle on Ice. We talked about that.
Sure.
And I did have Buster Douglas over Mike Tyson written down 41-1, according to odds makers. Miracle on Ice, I mean, it is kind of a one game, but they did have to win again, and so there's a little bit more in terms of layers. But those are just some of the great upsets that I had kind of just off the top of my head when I was making notes.
Yeah, I think I'd have a hard time debating any of those.
I mean, Jordan won't say it, but like the Cavs over the Warriors is a pretty crazy one.
The 2015, just the premise of 2015, they've got to go back to Oracle twice. The Cavaliers have to go back twice and win Game 5 and Game 7.
Fishy suspension in there, though, too.
He kicked a guy in the nuts.
Yeah.
What do you mean fishy?
I mean,
fishy.
70, how many ball games to win? 73 and 9.
Hey, I'll enter that into the conversation. I don't think the 3-1 in that series is what stands out. I don't think it stands out because Golden State was also down 3-1 in the Western Conference Final.
Correct.
To Durant and boys.
OKC, yeah.
So,
and that is a 57-win Cleveland team.
It is a pretty good team. So that's not like Buster Douglas level. Are we disrespecting the Florida Panthers in this conversation? Because they actually not only played the back half of that Boston series really well, started their series against Toronto really well. And I'm watching them thinking, the one thing that I didn't account for is, boy, they're a lot faster than Tampa Bay. They just look faster. They're a little bit younger, a little bit more hungry maybe. We'll get into the Matthew Tkachuk conversation here in a second. But Florida, they're not sneaking up on anybody anymore.
No.
And they feel like the ultimate team that's dangerous because they're playing with house money.
And I so badly wanted to put this out into anybody that was at my house that was watching the hockey game would listen, but there was nobody, so I couldn't put it out there. But getting Paul Maurice into a Game 7 is a frightening proposition for me if I am the other team, because I feel like he's always going to be prepared. He's always going to have. He never explodes. He's always calm. And Bobrovsky. Like he said as much to, is it Emily Kaplan? Is it Kaplan? The girl who does the on-bench interview. And, she asked him what went into the thought process behind, between Bobrovsky and Lyon. And he said, I have two good goalies, but Bobrovsky's here to handle the pressure.
Two-time Vezina winner.
He's got a two-time Vezina. He also defeated the 62-win Tampa Bays, right? Like he's the only goalie in history to defeat both 60-win clubs. That's going to be a tough proposition for the Leafs too. This is my excitement about Florida getting to the second round against Toronto isn't like Leafs win in 4, though. In our group chat,
yeah,
I was gonna bring it up.
In the group chat, I did believe that the Leafs could win this thing in 5.
You did also say Bob getting run out of the net in Game 1.
Oh, there might have been a little bit of.
He played really well in Game 1.
He did, and
he stole a show.
Well.
He is so crazy inconsistent sometimes. Like two-time Vezina winner, but there's years I feel like I watch him and he's just terrible.
There's years in the playoffs that he hasn't been good. There were a few years where Columbus was actually a higher seed, I think, to Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
And he just turned into a sieve in that series.
Yeah.
So we've seen that, but what I saw was very poised. He was very sticky with the puck, didn't give up a lot of rebounds. Even the goals that he let up were sort of defensive miscues.
Yeah.
Gudas coming across the ice. And the one thing that I did like about the Panthers was the resiliency in that game, because Toronto, we're talking about Game 1, Toronto comes back and finally gets a little life in Scotiabank Arena. That's another conversation we need to have, how Toronto is just not a good home team. They just aren't.
Maybe one of the worst home fan bases in the league.
Is that all it is that people aren't into it, or is there something else there?
No, it's because the guys sitting in the lower bowl are all going in suits.
If I'm paying $2,000 for 2 tickets and my team goes down 1-0, I'm quiet pretty quick.
But I mean, even watch it on the Saturday night in the regular season. Watch the home opener don't watch the game in the middle of January. But that lower bowl it's all rich dudes ordering escargots and whatnots. The guys sitting up in the 300 that are crushing $12 beers. Those guys are plenty loud. We've sat up there before.
I think the worst seat in the house was 420, something like that, according to StubHub.
Sure. That's probably standing room at the very top.
Yeah. Yeah, that's up in the bleeders for sure. Can we do the Matthew Tkachuk, Austin Matthews? This question was asked on the Spit and Chicklets podcast, and if you're interested in Spit and Chicklets merchandise, you can come pick it up at the Capital PTBO, 370 George Street. Shameless plug.
Correct.
He said, are we sure that Tkachuk's not the best American hockey player in the world right now? For the last year and a half, for sure, there was even this debate. I mean, Matthews wins our trophy, scores 60 goals.
Yep.
There's this really intense level of loyalists who are arguing, no, he's actually better than Connor McDavid. I think we've put that to bed. I don't think that's a conversation anymore.
Yeah.
But now it's like, okay, he followed up the 60. He only got 40. It was sort of pedestrian year, missed some time. And then you look at Tkachuk, and he is such a better player than I ever give him credit for. He's somebody who plays on the edge.
Yeah.
Doesn't mind being dirty. Doesn't mind being annoying. And yet he puts up 100. And
109
he's super
points.
fast. I don't throw this around very often. And I don't think he's quite the power forward that Peter Forsberg was. But when I watch him, I just think he's got that level of nasty. Doesn't mind throwing an elbow.
Yeah. That's
3
right.
assists in Game 1. There's just a piece of him where I'm like, man, that, and playing alongside, you got Sam Bennett, Reinhardt. Like, it is a very good young core. Are we ready to have the Matthews versus Tkachuk conversation, or is that just a little bit premature?
For me, I think that Matthews, I think there was a fundamental shift in his game where he went more towards, he blocked more shots than any other forward in the National Hockey League this year in the regular season. a 60 goal scorer the year before. That'd be asking Connor McDavid next year, I need you to average 3 blocks a night. Holy smokes. I mean, that's a lot to ask. And so Justin always talks about, there was a famous quote from Ovechkin. Ovechkin asked, like, what do the Leafs need to do to get to the next level? And he said, play defense. And maybe that's something that maybe the brass had tried to get Austin to do. Maybe he took that to heart. Maybe he just figured that this is the next evolution of his game, is to play a more 200-foot.
Well, Ovechkin won a cup after doing it.
Barry Trotz got him to play defense, and they win a Stanley Cup. So, would you rather have 60 goals in a first-round exit or 40 goals and we're still playing in May?
I think Matthew Tkachuk's always been this good. Last year, he had 104 points with Calgary.
He did.
Yeah.
But we talk about this problem with having good players like playing out west. We don't watch them as much over here.
Yeah.
And even though he's in Florida, we're watching a lot more Matthew Tkachuk this season than we were last year.
I think Matthew Tkachuk is more a natural. Like, if you're going to be a Team USA, he's going to be more a natural leader, and Matthews is going to be your top of the circle rocket.
I still think, even though I've been thoroughly impressed with Tkachuk, I still think Austin Matthews is the second best hockey player in the world. And next to Connor McDavid, he's who I would pick. Like, if I had a pick of the draw. Physically, he's an X factor. He can take things over. I thought he was really, some people were criticizing him. I thought he was really, really good against Tampa Bay. He made big plays.
Absolutely.
He made big plays. He's physical. He's a horse. Battles the injury bug a little bit, but even the last few years, it's not been that bad.
Yeah.
To me, Austin Matthews is still the best American hockey player in the world right now.
I would agree.
It's just, he feels like he has more like the game-changing energy to him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, he'll score a big goal with 3 minutes left. And I'm sure Matthew Tkachuk has. It's just Austin Matthews, it feels like he's more built for that moment.
You know what, the one thing I think you could maybe knock Matthews a little bit for is that seems like he has like a laissez-faire attitude sometimes on the bench.
Yeah.
He doesn't seem to be the guy he doesn't bark the loudest. He doesn't seem to be, he just seems, it looks anyways, just from body language or facial expression that, we can still turn it on at any point, as opposed to being, serious and let's go, boys. He just doesn't show that.
Speaking of serious let's go, boys, I wanted to get a little NBA conversation here because we did get the dream scenario of LeBron versus Steph Curry in the second round of the playoffs. LeBron, advantage.
That's right.
Anthony Davis was awesome.
Yes, he was.
You got a 6 and a 7, but it doesn't feel like a 6 and a 7. This feels like an ultimate heavyweight tilt. And I'm not going to say there's any form of legacy on the line. Like, to me, LeBron would be pretty difficult to catch for Steph Curry, even if he won a couple more.
Mm-hmm.
That being said, LeBron, I think, knows in the back of his head, like, man, even if it's mainly due to the infrastructure surrounding Steph, he's lost a lot to Steph. Like, he just has.
Oh, yeah.
And he knows it. And, yeah, there's some caveats, Durant and, some of those, pieces. Better teams. LeBron's Cleveland teams just weren't as good.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I bet there's a little bit of that that's, like, personal.
If this thing can go to, like, the knockout stage and get to 6-7 games, that you can get it to, the mass market. You can get that Sunday nighter game 7 that the NBA just seems to, however, they seem to just manufacture this. This is the Bird versus Magic of this generation, right? This is big, and for LeBron to continue to produce at the level he's at, and Steph at the same level, the same token. There's a lot of miles on these Warriors' bodies for
Most
sure.
Most points ever in a game 7 of any scenario, 50, which he put up against Sacramento,
right,
on the road.
Game 1, just an underrated stat is rebounding, and Anthony Davis had 23, and so did Kevon Looney. Both had 23 boards.
Wow.
I appreciate me a good rebounder.
Oh, sure. I think it drastically changes the ball game.
Joel Embiid is the most valuable player. Was this Joel Embiid deserving of the MVP, or was this we're just not going to give
a three-peat to a guy that looks like he owns the YMCA gym?
Or just anybody? I almost feel like there's been a line drawn in the sand of MJ didn't win 3 in a row, LeBron didn't win 3 in a row, so we're not letting anybody win 3 in a row.
Yeah, for sure. Because
Chamberlain, Russell, and Bird.
Right.
Those are your names.
That's it. That's the only ones. It's a good pick. To me, Embiid doesn't move the needle. For me, as the casual basketball fan, doesn't move the needle for me. It's, guys drop 50 today like it's
a lot of 50-point games.
Like 30 points was a decade ago. I don't know.
I'll give it to Embiid. He started playing basketball when he was 15.
Impressive.
That is impressive. Wow.
Pretty neat. That's 14 years ago.
According to an anecdote, almost quit because his first day of practice in college, which is Kansas, I think, he got dunked on and was like, booed out of the building or whatever, and thought, that's it. I'm done. A great story.
Wow.
Great player. I still think, even though he'll come in third, or he probably already did come in third, I still think Giannis is the best player.
Sure.
If I had a pick. And Jokic, I still just don't think people have figured out him because he can't jump off a curb.
Yeah.
Like, he's got no elevation. Can barely
Zero.
dunk, and yet controls the game like really few players we've ever seen with how he slows it down.
Just quickly with Giannis, like I know he's got a title, but like his first round or dramatic playoff exits, is this a problem yet and for his legacy or not yet?
Yes.
Like you get 1 versus 8 against the Heat.
And you go out in 5?
And you go out in 5?
I bet $5 on the Heat to win the NBA championship, and it'll pay out $375 when they do.
Oh.
Jimmy Butler's your guy.
I love Jimmy Butler.
He is a hitman. Honestly, hitman.
A lot of great stuff in the NBA.
Yeah.
Coming up. It's just one of those times a year where every night you got
something
hockey
good.
Right into basketball, or
Yes.
basketball right into hockey, which is kind of cool.
Yeah.
Baseball, not far from the radar. And I wanted to get to this.
Mm-hmm.
So are you familiar with ChatGTP? Everyone's talking about it now.
Yeah, I've heard a few things. I watched some TikToks. There's a lot of people talking about how this is going to make millionaires overnight very quickly. This is going to replace people, Hollywood writers, news people. Anyways, lawyers, right. What have you got for me here before we're all unemployed? ChatGPT is soon going to take over our program.
That is true.
Yeah.
I'm on it right now. I'm going to get something for you.
Thank you.
ChatGTP named its greatest ever baseball lineup. So someone entered it and said, ChatGTP, give me the ultimate greatest baseball lineup.
Mm-hmm.
And they decided to fire back a couple of names. I'm going to throw this off you, and then we can debate whether or not this is on the mark.
Okay.
All right, catcher, Johnny Bench. First base, the Iron Horse, Lou Gehrig. Second base, Rogers Hornsby. Third base, Michael Jack Schmidt. Shortstop, one of Matt's favorite players of all time, Honus Wagner.
It's my guy.
Left field, Ted Williams. Center field, Say Hey Kid, Willie Mays. And right field, the Bambino, Babe Ruth.
Wow.
Your starting pitcher,
Christy Mathewson,
Nolan Ryan.
I was going to say, there's only one guy who played after 1970 on your list, and it's Mike Schmidt. Brooks Robinson didn't want a shot at that.
So,
how many gold gloves did old Brooksy get?
16, I think.
That's right.
A lot of them.
There used to be a famous saying, my dad will appreciate this. A guy that I used to work with, or my dad used to work with, said, the only way you can get a ball by Brooks Robinson was to cut it in half. And 16 gold gloves allows you to kind of do that. This is a strange list. Two issues that really point out for me.
Yeah.
How much, Rogers Hornsby?
Yep. I'm actually keep it coming because I'm a Hornsby guy.
A 424 average. Yep. I mean, this guy's a guy that chronically hit 400. How much did that get put into? The meaning. Look at the guys Gehrig's hard, 2,130. I mean, his lifetime average is 330. Okay, I can understand. Hornsby, I mean, this is a guy that played in the dead ball. He's in the 1910s.
Yeah, his
hit
career
400.
was 1914 to 1930. Basically the same.
He's again 340 career hitter, something like
358.
that. 358. Okay.
Second ever.
Ruth, Williams. These are all guys that played when it was black and white.
Mm-hmm.
Babe Ruth is the best right fielder of all time.
Are you even asking that question?
Yeah. Are you kidding me?
Babe Ruth was pretty good, I think.
Oh, was he? Okay. Where's Hank Aaron on the list?
You're a Hank guy, so he played right field, correct, or left field?
Let's put it in the magic box.
I'm going to say left field.
I think he did play left
You're
field.
leaving precious baseball information with me.
I think he did play left field. I think if we look at
Would you take him over Ted Williams?
in a New York minute,
ESPN's top 10 right fielders of all time, as of 2016, has Babe Ruth 1, Hank Aaron 2.
okay,
Hank.
I
then
think
Roberto Clemente.
if you look at any sort of defensive metrics, even like RBIs, fine, Babe. The first guy to hit 30, 40, 50, 60, fine, Babe. Aaron played 20 plus years and never hit 50 home runs. The quintessential professional, black, playing in a time when it wasn't very fun to be a black player, and he still managed to produce every night. Babe Ruth?
I can't believe. I honestly can't believe this.
No, don't tell me.
Of this list, the one gripe you have is with Babe Ruth being on the list?
The shortstop, Honus Wagner, also gives me a problem.
The Flying Dutchman?
Yes. The second baseman, Rogers Hornsby, gives me a problem. Yeah.
So you don't want the dead ball early guys?
Well, I mean, just how much emphasis is put. And the third baseman's going to be Mike Schmidt. Oh, my God.
I suspect it grabbed WAR numbers, and that's how they did it.
It might be it, yeah.
Okay, so
Would be
where's
my
Mike
guess.
Trout on the list?
Chat GPT, still a work in progress, I believe.
Yeah.
Just to circle in chess to this. They tried to play a chess game against it, and it was spawning pieces in empty squares to beat people. Like, it doesn't always know what it's talking about.
Oh, my God. Really?
Yeah. But Babe Ruth.
No, I was joking about that. The people at home don't.
Okay, so I got two. I got two here.
Okay.
Okay, it's not Nolan Ryan. It just isn't. I'm sorry.
Okay.
It's not Nolan Ryan. Like, if you're getting these guys from the dead ball era, it's Cy Young or Walter Johnson. Like, it just is. Okay.
Fine.
Johnny Bench, I think, is the answer, just because, Yogi's in the mix.
Yeah.
Pudge with his chemistry issues, though.
Fisk.
You could maybe go there. You're right. Third base, I think Mike Schmidt is the answer, but there's a few others who are sniffing around. If you're okay with the whole notion of the steroid era, I think you got to go Bonds over Williams.
Yes.
I think you have to. But if you're not, then you don't.
Okay. Take Bonds 01 to 04 out of the mix, and he still fights Ted Williams pretty good.
I think Ricky Henderson's an underrated left fielder in that
Wow,
slot, too.
You're right. He wouldn't be on my list. I mean, one of the greatest leadoff guys of all time, if not the greatest.
The greatest. So if we were going counterweights to these with a little bit more of a modern lens, Rogers Hornsby, I'd probably go Joe Morgan would be my guy at second base.
Who's the shortstop?
Honus Wagner.
What about Munenori Kawasaki?
Interesting.
Very close.
Didn't make it?
Almost. Yeah.
Willie Mays in center field, I think defensively it makes sense, but there would be an argument for Mickey Mantle. And there'd be an argument for Joe DiMaggio. You'd make those arguments, but I think Willie Mays is the right answer.
My grandfather famously tells me, because he was a Mays kid, super fan, 1 error in 10 years, 2 errors in 15 years for Willie Mays.
Yep. He was on another planet. I just love
Aaron, though.
I know you're a Hank Aaron guy. I get it.
I just feel like the guy doesn't get his due because he was just a ho-hum. I'll just hit 47 a year for 20 years.
I just think you can't look at this list and be like, oh, Babe Ruth's the one that sticks out to me.
That's a little crazy.
No, Guy's a 342 with 714 bombs.
Again,
like,
I can appreciate that. Show me a guy from pre-World War II that doesn't have a career average over 300, let alone 325.
Right.
Everybody does. Holy crap. Shoeless Joe's got a 367 or 355. Ty Cobb's got a 367.
Yep.
Come on.
Tyrus Raymond Cobb.
The
Georgia Peach.
Tommy Lee.
Great stuff there. Anyways, I think the Nolan Ryan one was the one that jumped out to me. That's like, I know there's a lot of people who really like Nolan Ryan, but he just wouldn't quite be on. I think I love him and he struck out a lot of guys, but you also walk a lot of guys, and that poses problems.
I think the other I like Nolan personally because the guy
I like the story of Nolan. He's a gunslinger.
Right.
200 pitches, doesn't matter.
That's right. He would throw an unbelievable amount of innings, 5,715 Ks.
All right, miscellaneous section.
Let's hear it.
A new 30 for 30 will focus on Reggie White including never before seen interviews prior to 2004. Are you interested in that?
Yes, the Minister of Defense.
Matt, you might be interested that he wrestled a couple of matches in WCW.
Now we're talking my language.
Jeepers.
I like that. Reggie White, interesting character, devoted Christian.
Yes.
Greatest defensive ends.
Played
right?
a game
Like
angry and then had to preach on Sundays. Yeah.
100%. Pierre Maguire is back. Remember Pierre?
Yeah. What's he doing?
He's part of YouTube's Stanley Cup Central show. This guy was an Emmy Award winner. He accepted a job with the Ottawa Senators front office, and less than a year later, he was gone. And now nobody wants to scoop him back up. He's with YouTube now. Like, to me,
I think
like
YouTube's
TSN doesn't bring him back in.
YouTube's probably paying him a pretty penny.
I understand.
They've got money.
I understand. Do we forget that he really was the marquee color guy in Canada, like sort of like after Harry Neal like was out?
Yeah.
Pierre, like when TSN gets the national rights, like he's the guy. He's all over the World Juniors and all that kind of stuff.
Double D on.
Yeah. I'm amazed that
people hate him though.
I
don't get it.
They hate him, but there's also a lot of people who really like him, and to me, that's the perfect mix.
YouTube is throwing a lot of money into the ring, though, and going into sports, right?
Yep.
Like NFL's coming along.
Charles Barkley shames pickleball on the opening on TNT Basketball. Quote, "That's an old man and an old woman's sport." End quote. Kenny the Jet Smith decided to take a little bit of umbrage with that, but Charles stood by it and said, no, absolutely.
I might catch some flack at the YMCA for this take because people have brought up the show to me before there. The YMCA gym schedule, like the actual basketball court gym, you can never play basketball because they're always playing pickleball.
Really?
Cut it out. Like, you can chop that in half and they still have more gym time than everybody else.
But maybe there's a bigger need for the pickleballs.
Listen, I know Pete Dalladay's a big pickleball guy.
Okay.
An advocate, if you will, locally. Cut it out. Stop it.
Do you think...
I'm with Barkley on this one.
Does Pete have a stronger forehand or backhand serve? I want to hear it. He's a backhand guy?
Yeah.
Okay. I like it.
Snoop Dogg, part of a group interested in buying the Ottawa Senators. I thought we already solved this. Was it not Ryan Reynolds and his crew?
Oh, I think that...
or is Snoop in that crew?
I think Snoop's part of that crew now.
No, I think it's dueling bids. I'm pretty sure it's two different groups, yeah.
Now, I saw the figure $1 billion being... They're not worth $1 billion.
Their valuation was $900 million.
Well, I think that, it gets you the stadium, too. And
yeah, Snoop Dogg gave Ryan Reynolds some competition, and both of them want to buy the Ottawa Senators now.
What's the angle for Snoop? Like, honestly.
Just the figurehead of a bunch of rich guys.
No, I understand that. But, I mean, his love affair, he loves Canada.
Yep.
He said that many, many times.
Yep.
But, I mean, doesn't he... If hockey if he was going to make an investment in sport, wouldn't hockey, I would think, would be like the dead last one?
So CBC did an article. It says Snoop Dogg says Sens bid could boost hockey among black youth.
Which is probably true, and maybe he wants to be at the forefront, or maybe help push that forward, which would be terrific.
Remember, Snoop Dogg was wearing the Pittsburgh Penguins gamer in the Gin and Juice video.
Gin and Juice, I remember it famously.
He wore a Pete's jersey when he played here a couple years ago.
That is true.
Yeah, that's true.
Interesting to see that one. MMA corner John Jones hinting at retirement after his next fight.
Good, get out. Like,
you're done with it.
The guy took
Why isn't this guy the biggest star going?
He took a 4-year break to put on 5 pounds.
That hurts.
It's that's the way I look at it. And Francis Ngannou's not there. He's, I think, the other best heavyweight in the world. If they're not going to fight, I don't care to watch John Jones beat up everybody else.
Do you think they eventually fight, but when they're both like old and bad? Sort of a Pacquiao Mayweather?
Yeah, I hope not. Like Pacquiao Mayweather happened 5 years too late.
Oh yeah,
it did.
I think they're already getting to that point where it's like, I don't know, like John Jones is still good, but he's getting old, and same thing with Ngannou.
If they're of equal, so these guys are of equal age or pretty close,
roughly.
Isn't that the fight you want then? Because you don't want John Jones, who could be the greatest in the sport, to come out and lose to a 25-year-old. That to me just wouldn't seem like...
They're 35 and 36.
So, I would watch that. 2 old dudes, dad strength, slugging it out.
One of my favorite segments that we do is the story that's not about sports.
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember your prom?
Famously.
Give me a snapshot of prom.
Okay. Here's an in-lens picture of Mark Million at prom. Mark asks a girl to prom who's got a boyfriend who doesn't go to the school. And she's probably way too nice to say no, so she says yeah. And then I get a ride to prom with my parents. So, as cool as I look here, it wasn't always that cool.
A few missteps along the way.
A few, yeah.
So I also went to prom with a girl named Catherine Aggio, who had a boyfriend who didn't go to the school.
Oh,
so we're
what?
both on the same page.
Jackie Schreier was the name of the lady.
We were trying.
Hey,
we were trying
easy.
the old 1-2 switcheroo, weren't we?
Sure.
Didn't end up bad. So I did go in a limousine. My friends and I rented the limousine.
Yes.
That pales into comparison with this story. There was a teen in Washington State who just showed up at prom in a World War II tank.
Oh.
Two creative West Coast teens made an impressive entrance over the weekend when they rolled up to their high school prom in an M3A1 Stuart tank that reportedly rented out for $1,000. Best friends Sherman Bynum and Sam Tutro told local media outlets that they raised the money through a GoFundMe account. We don't like normal very much, Bynum said.
No.
I think the quote that we've been repeating a lot today is, "Today's the day, man, and we're feeling good."
It's a couple guys being dudes.
A kid rents a
Guys
tank.
being dudes.
Kid rents a tank and his name's Sherman. Come on.
General Sherman.
Writes itself.
Nobody flagged this.
The Sherman tank.
There's
Wow.
no kind of rumors when they just saw a tank around town, like what was going on.
Hey, what's that tank doing?
How does a tank rent for $1,000?
Well, this
Also,
is
yes.
so it's a collector who's now in his 60s. He says he's been collecting military stuff for since he graduated high school, so 50 years. And he said, I like these kids because, if it weren't for people who drove these tanks, we wouldn't have the freedoms that we have and all rah-rah stuff.
Okay.
But the other conversation is how readily available these tanks are. If we could get a tank for $1,000 in Peterborough, Ontario, would we not pool our money and go get a tank?
Well, there's somebody
drive
around
around.
town that has them. Somebody's got a tank somewhere.
There's a black market of tanks.
100% has to be.
I'm on the dark web.
I mean, there is a very famous, very unfortunate, but very famous tank video of someone in the United States when they ran on a rampage on a tank.
Oh.
And police had to, the only way you could stop him was open the top and shoot him in the head. That's a really bad story. Sorry, kids.
This went dark quick. Wow.
I'm just saying,
Let's,
how do you stop a tank?
On my prom night, I got
Easy, big fella.
I got
Let's,
a deluxe pizza.
Change the subjects.
We'll edit that part out for TV. What the heck?
Hey, it's reality. You're reporting facts.
Hey, I'm telling you.
Mano y mano. Matt, once again, is the quiz master.
Yeah.
Each and every week, we do the Mano y Mano challenge. One of us throws out a category, and the other two duel it out. That's the best way I can explain it. Last week, Matt, you picked career shorthanded goals.
This
And,
week, you're
Mark
going
Which
to
was
got
not
blank.
popular.
Oh, what?
You
pe-
lost. Of course you're not going to like it. I don't want to hear it.
You mean people weren't at home on the edge of their seats wondering who was number 17 on the list for shorties?
I have to-
Scoring, come on.
I have to do pre-World War II baseball every other week. I don't want to hear it.
Listen,
already maxed
Norway.
that out.
Listen, you got me on Norway too. So this is what it's going to be. It's going to be Norwegian
It
athletes.
better be about Honus Wagner.
No,
Since we-
Honus Wagner's not on here.
Flying Dutchman.
There are 25, maybe 26 names on this list.
Oh.
Okay.
I counted earlier. Can't remember. It's one of the two. The Toronto Maple Leafs 2003-2004 roster. 25 players played for that team in the playoffs.
Okay.
Okay.
Name them.
2003 for Leafs.
Last
So
time
let's,
last time the Toronto Maple Leafs made the second round was 2003-2004.
Now, Mark, you're a lifelong Leaf fan.
Yeah.
How old are you in 2004?
I'm 25,
Okay.
or I'm in my 25th year.
I'm 15.
It's a good age.
So
Plus,
let's
you
party.
also have some weird photographic memory. So.
Okay. I watched those games. I remember the Jeremy Roenick Game 6 overtime winner. All right.
Oof.
I'll go first.
Yeah.
Ed Belfour.
Ed Belfour was on that team.
Matt Sundin.
Yep.
Alexander Mogilny.
Yep. Good start.
Brian McCabe.
Yep. St. Catharines own.
Brian Leach.
Yep.
Okay, now how about roster dudes? I'll save him for later. Glenn Wesley.
Oh!
Glenn Wesley's not on that team?
I'll double check, but this is guys that played in the playoffs.
Oh,
hold on.
hang on.
Hold on.
Whoa.
Let's go to the. No, I love it. Let's go to the cards. I think I'm gonna need that anyways.
Okay. Oh, okay. So the caveat is playoff, because there's another guy that played on that team. Now, I think he played the opener of round 1 and then never played again. Pat Quinn told him, like, the game's passed you
You're
by.
done.
Glenn Wesley's only year with the Leafs was 02-03.
Oh, a year before.
It's one strike for Mark.
I'm gonna go with Ty Domi.
Yep.
Yeah. 03-04 Leafs.
Kind of an
Jeepers.
interesting year because there's been a bit of a change of the guard.
Yeah.
Like it's not.
Can we admit this is a better trivia topic?
Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you.
For sure.
Alan McCauley.
Oh, you're in trouble.
Oh, my gosh. Alan McCauley, no.
Let me find out when he played for the Leafs.
03-04 Leafs.
Alan McCauley's last year at the Leafs was 02-03.
Oh,
I'm like crushing 02-03.
And then he went to San Jose.
Holy
I'm going to
crap.
say Darcy Tucker.
Yep.
Oh, now I don't.
You're impressed with that Mogilny one I pulled out.
That's a good one. That's a very good one.
One of my favorite Leafs ever.
03-04. See, now I've got it mixed up about 02-03. Because I think. Who did they play in the playoffs that year? That's the Philadelphia year? Or is
Yeah, Ottawa
year
then
before?
Philly.
Ottawa and then Philly. Yeah. Okay. Dmitry Yuskevich.
Is that 0203?
Jeepers.
That's 3 strikes.
Is it 02-03 for Yuskevich too?
Let me take a look.
Dimitri.
Like who? Like Aki Berg, I guess.
Aki Berg's on the team.
Yeah.
I don't even think we went. We didn't go too far on defense. There.
Yuskevich, last year was 01-02.
Oh.
God.
I'll seal the win with Whitby's own Joe Neuendijk.
Yeah.
Oh, Gary Roberts.
Gary Roberts is
See,
on
is
that
this
team.
so? Is this the year Doug Gilmore, Phil Housley, or is that the year before?
No, was Ron Francis on this one?
Yep.
He was.
Other notables on this list: Wade Belak,
Yep.
Oh yeah.
Thomas Caberlet,
Oh.
Robert Reichel, Nick Antropov, Matt Stajan, Chad Kilger, Brian Marchment,
This was a team.
Aki Berg, and Alexei Ponikarovsky. And there's a few other smaller ones. Trevor Kidd
Oh yeah.
I was wondering who the backup
yeah.
was.
played one
Yeah.
game in the playoffs. Yep. Tom Fitzgerald was on that
I was
team.
wondering.
Oof.
Mikkel Renberg, Ken Klee, Carol
Ken
Pilar,
Klee,
Clark
yeah.
Whelm,
That's a team.
and Callie Johansson.
I would have had a few more. I would have had Reichel because I was texting with my good friend Brad Selsey, and I said, who would you rather have, Barkov or Danny Markov? And he said, Danny Markov. And then he mentioned that Markov was traded in the deal that ended up bringing Reichel over. So I was going to have Reichel down there, but man,
Cheapers.
me coming out with the Brian Leach.
You
Yeah.
beating
That
was
Mark in that
crazy.
one. That's a bad luck, Mark.
I know.
0-2 against Jordan in trivia.
I don't want to say that I haven't gotten a single strike in either of the last 2 trivias.
to be fair,
that I've
last
done.
week was 4 rounds.
But I nailed it. I was like
equivalent,
3
yeah.
for 3.
That's tough.
You know what else is tough?
02-03 Leafs. Cheapers.
That year they lost to Philadelphia, I think, in the first round.
Yeah, they
It
did.
wasn't a good one.
Ronick, the Chechmanek beat them.
Yeah. You know what isn't easy is Peterborough table hockey.
Yeah. Did you watch last week's game?
I did watch last week's game. And unfortunately, due to technical error, our commentary wasn't
Wasn't
featured.
available.
It's been fixed.
We had some great comments
Correct.
throughout the course of
And
that
you can
game.
use them all again this week.
That's true.
They're fresh.
They're fresh.
Tell us a little bit about the Peterborough Table Hockey Association and sort of what people are about to watch.
Yeah, so this is game 2 of the B final featuring Steve and Heather. So last week, if you happen to watch, or if you haven't, no problem. So Peterborough Table Hockey Association is a group of individuals that every Sunday, this year was every other Sunday, they play at the Knights of Columbus for a very, very low fee. Every week you play up to 12 games. on Sunday on, good old-fashioned rod hockey tables that you'll see here in the clip. And, really, a really good, cheap form of entertainment. You would have played it as a kid. The average age is, it's kind of in the middle. There's some 30s, there's some 40s, there's some 50s. Maybe a couple of 60s. We don't want to date too many of the guys, but so like a nice wide spectrum, and it was a lot of fun to go out and cover.
Yeah, it certainly was, and there's definitely an air of like camaraderie and social aspect to it.
For
people
sure.
who just really love hockey.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, if you want to talk about the 03-04 Leafs, like that would be a good spot to go and do it.
Yeah, I should have maybe taken some pointers.
They would all remember that. Let's jump into game number 2 of the B final. Heather, if I remember correctly, took game 1.
Correct.
But let's see if Steve is able to respond in game number 2. All right, hockey fans, we are getting ready to start game number 2 of the B final. We've got Steve on the right, Heather on the left. And the thing that always amazes me is just how fast everything goes on this particular board.
I think that when you watch it here on the TV, you won't get a true appreciation for it. But, when you're watching it here live, did we miss a goal there already?
No, it's 0-0.
There was a puck out of play there. It happens so quick. The goals happen quick. The pucks out of play happen very quickly. And, just watching the hands, one on the goaltender, one moving the players around. You get a different appreciation for it, certainly live.
Yeah, you absolutely do.
Yeah. So it seems here like the gameplay, and I hadn't. It's different. Like watching anybody doing something well, the affinity for the one timer. So throughout the game, you're going to see there's a lot of plays. Stands on the outside. So here we got it here. You see they bring it forward. The centerman starts to move around, and they're trying to see bang, 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 banging away there at center, trying to get that puck to go in. The one timer really seems to be the method of choice here. In the
I was floored
hockey.
at the amount of different ways you can possibly score. I think you're right. The one-timer is usually a preferred method, but a little bit of cheeky wraparounds and
the
dishes from the
wraparounds too.
corner.
Yeah,
I once been at table hockey tournament finals in grade 6 at Mary Street in Oshawa. Lost in the final. Real bad time, but the tournament was fun.
that would be a really great class activity.
You just, I think schools don't probably own the tables, but you'd have to find somewhere to get them. But I think it would be good.
Rent them from the Peterborough Table Hockey Association.
I'm sure you could loan them out. These guys have custom boards. There's
Oh,
Heather.
there we go. Heather's up 1-0.
Heather's on the board there, 1-0. We got Jim McCarr. He's the ref for tonight's game.
The game of table hockey was invented in 1932 by Canadian Donald H. Munro in Toronto.
Right.
He was getting hit hard by the Depression and came up with this game, sort of modeled it after pinball.
Yeah, because it was flapper wheels, and you didn't have the ruts. You couldn't move the players north and south like you can in today's version of the game, of course. We've got some of the old tabletop hockey games here. We've got some that they eventually graduated from the paddles to the metal players, and you used to be able to just spin them around. And then, of course, in today's iteration.
What do you prefer? Did you prefer, remember the old air hockey tables that you'd have with the puck roving around?
Here's my only caveat with an air hockey table. It has to be big enough.
Yeah.
You can't play on a 3x6, even a 4x6. You need 8 feet long.
You get me at the movie theaters and the arcade beforehand, and I'm ruining some kid's day.
Sure, but you're crushing somebody's knuckle. Like when you take that thing right to the goal line, right? It's going right to the center line.
Do you prefer the open top air or table hockey tables like this, or do you like the bubbles?
I would love to own a bubble.
Like they're such a cool look.
Such a cool look, such a cool price tag too. Whereas, in something like we're playing here, this is a custom board. So that glass you see is customized.
I just looked at the prices for the bubble hockey tables, and I no longer want one.
Yeah, sure. No kidding. There's Steve on the board. We missed it there. Steve has tied the game 1-1. There's a tough one for Heather from on the other side of center ice to make it 2-1.
Responded like the Leafs did when they went down 2-0, and they came right back.
A couple of rules, though. There are a few rules. There are few, but there are a few there. You can see.
Hey, we got a tie game now?
Steve's tied it up at 2.
Stevie doesn't want to go down 2-0.
No, not if he could help it. Yeah. So it's the games are 5 minutes. There's stop time. So when the puck leaves the playing surface or when somebody scores, the time stops on a goal. And I thought this was interesting. When you drop the puck and the referee starts the clock, if you score within 2 seconds of the puck drop, the goal doesn't count.
No goal.
No goal.
Kind of deemed a bit of a fluke, I guess, or
Yeah, just one from the circle, like one from the face-off circle doesn't really do it for people.
what about Steve's strategy right now with a 3-2 lead?
He's got himself a 3-2 lead. He's got to get another one. I mean, in terms of time left here on the clock, there's probably only a couple of minutes left.
Well, I
think
mean,
there's
you look
about
at what
a buck
happened
30.
in game one. He went up, what was it, 3-1 in game
3-1.
one? And then gave up 6 unanswered. So he's got to keep that lead.
Heather's pressing here, looking for the equalizer. There's still. I thought Steve had tucked one in behind the goalie there, but
Steve, quite the handlebar mustache
he does. Yeah,
he's got.
he does that, and maybe that's used the intimidating factor in here.
And now we
he's-
got a 4-2 game.
He's taking a 4-2 lead. Jimmy's going to fish the pucks out from underneath the playing surface.
Quite the shirt on the referee there, Jimmy.
I think the T-shirt that he had underneath was a Mike Palmatier,
Yeah, it was.
Toronto Maple Leafs.
What do we find more difficult,
Who's the
foosball or
name?
table hockey?
I certainly find table hockey to be more. I do enjoy playing foosball with two people, like having a partner, somebody that can control the goal.
Yeah.
I
and
have
the defenseman.
profound respect for anyone who's good at either of those because I am not. I do not have that level of eye coordination.
I do prefer foosball. I remember one time in foosball that I had taken a shot, it had rocketed off the goalie, came back to my guy, and I managed just to swing it again. It was like a one-timer clapper. Oh, my gosh.
Oh, we got a 4-3 game coming down to the
4-3
last
here.
few seconds
Last couple
here.
seconds. What do
That's
we got?
it.
And that's it. Congratulations.
Stevie.
Steve's tied the series at 1.
We got ourselves a series right here. Well, super exciting. Steve and Heather now locked up. So that's the Peterborough Table Hockey Association, and we're going to bring you through the B final and then the A final,
Yeah, that's right.
which is going to be exciting.
And that will be exciting. The level of play was really fun. It was a great day to cover it, and check it out, Peterborough Table Hockey Association. You can Google that on Facebook. Have a look. It's a lot of fun.
Quick little shout out that we will be starting our slow pitch league here. So you're going to get some slow pitch coverage on this
will we
on this
ever.
program.
Okay, so
That's for sure.
just quickly, you've changed the name.
Yeah.
Fourth name in like 3 years or something?
Yeah.
Heavy personnel changes after last year.
Yes.
Is that right?
Not, I'd
got
say
fired.
probably half the roster's new.
What about the guys upstairs? Who's running the show here?
You're
Yours-
talking to him
yours
right there.
truly.
Okay.
You mean the guy who secured a sponsor for the team this year?
Yeah. Good point. This has been the Capital PTBO Sports Show, an MNC podcast production. Of course, you can come visit us at the Capital PTBO, 370 George Street North, or online at thecapitalptbo.ca. For Mark Million, producer Matty, I'm Jordan Mercier. We will talk again next week.